Welcome to the Real Estate Investment Nomad podcast. I am your host, Nathaly Salas, an international real estate expert. Join me as we explore the thrilling world of global real estate. We'll uncover diverse international markets, backed by solid data and engaging insights. Each episode features expert guests from the hottest markets, providing you with the knowledge to invest wisely and successfully. Whether you are a local realtor aiming to go global or an investor curious about international opportunities, this is the podcast for you. Get ready to transform your approach and achieve global real estate success to become a real estate investment nomad. Hello again, this is Natalie with Unicorn Properties, and today we have the pleasure to interview Natalie Peralta. She's the Panamanian version of us. So we're going to talk about Panama real estate, international real estate in general, how we met, and also what's the difference between lifestyles between Panama and Chicago. And I'm super excited to chat more. Thanks for being with us.
Yes, absolutely. It's such an awesome pleasure to be here. Super excited to hear what you have going on in Mexico and share with what's going on in Panama.
Yeah, I had to start with how we met.
Yeah,
so
for sure.
We had a friend that kind of knew of each other online. So he's like, you guys should connect. You're two Natalies and you all talk about real estate, international real estate. And we're okay. And I never met you before in person, besides
and you're here in Chicago, which is crazy.
Both in Chicago and both, beating on the Latin American market, because I think it's one of our favorites.
Yes, absolutely.
And tell us more about you. You were born and raised here in Chicago.
I was. I grew up a little bit outside of Chicago. I was born here, but I grew up in the country in Wisconsin. Came back for college, played soccer. Didn't go pro, unfortunately, but I have so much love for the sport. And then obviously decided to get into real estate after trying a couple different careers. Worked with some developing realtor companies, started on Lakeshore Drive at the famous Mies van der Rohe building. And then from there, just continued to grow, understanding operations and management, and then working alongside the engineers of the buildings and understanding the nuances of building and developing, and then meeting developers, which is really what I saw the most impactful to be able to change communities, which is really where I wanted to be. So it took some time, but we're here.
That's amazing. How long have you been in real estate? I mean, you're born and raised here, but you have family.
Yeah, I've been in real estate since 2015.
Okay.
So for a little bit, just for a little bit. My family is here in Chicago, but I also have family in Panama.
Okay.
My first time visiting Panama was in 2016.
Okay.
And that's when I really realized, wow, this country is going to really expand. I can tell because the way that we watch the trends in Chicago with communities and watching how the housing and development plans out and structures things 10 years at a time, I was seeing that in Panama, that they had just started to break ground on some huge developments. And I was like, wow, this is going to totally change in 10 years. I need to find a way to get here. I need to find a way to be a part of this huge change and shift.
I like that, it takes quite a skill to be, it's like when you do a flip, sometimes it's the ugly house.
Correct.
And this house has so much potential. It just doesn't look like it right now. It's just like, you just think somebody that were homeless here probably and you see the structure, you're like,
problems.
It has a feel to it that might have some potential. So I feel similar to with international markets, that it's hard to see where the trend is going, because sometimes people see it and it's like, oh no, there's issues and this and that, and the community, and it's a different country. But I feel you have been able to see that potential. We developers flip houses, and when you buy the ugly house in a nice neighborhood.
Correct.
So I think you're kind of in that sense when it comes to international for Panama, right?
Yes, when you see that and everything just starts to come together, like really and truly, all those things that you learn in the city of Chicago, it's all international. Like if you can make it in Chicago, I really believe you can make it anywhere, because you learn all the fundamentals of how to do a comparison of your market analysis, how to be aware of your safety surroundings, right? Because there's dangerous places all over the world. In every country, you have to be aware of your surroundings. You have to be conscious of locking your car door, making sure everything is secure, checking for your keys, properly walking a building and a work site. There's all those things have carried over to the market in Panama. So people were just like, how do you know all this stuff? And I was like, I learned all this in Chicago.
Yeah, it was a good market to learn everything. From A to Z.
Rentals, development, prefab, new construction, Victorian renovation, you name it, we've done it.
Yeah, so When was your jump? You were like, okay, I'm done with Chicago. I might explore probably one foot there, one foot here at the beginning.
Correct. I'm in the hybrid phase right now.
Then you're, okay.
Yes.
So tell us when did it start for you?
So it started 2 years ago. 2 years ago, I had a best friend that took me to Panama. She wanted to go for her birthday. And I went there. We stayed in this Casco Viejo part of town, which is beautiful, very old colonial style homes. And there was some buildings that I could see were being renovated into hotels. And it had just started, right? The transformation of beautification had started. I was like, I need to be here. So I went there. And then a little bit into our journey, she was like, oh, I wish we could go see the island side of Panama, the Caribbean side. And I was like, man, what I really want to do one day is build like a resort on an island. That's really my long-term goal, is to find a way to enjoy and not retire, but that for me would just be an alignment to relaxing and enjoying life. It wouldn't really feel like work for me. So we actually met the ambassador of ecotourism, who is in Boca del Toro, and he took me all around the island and showed me a lot of different development. And from there I said, this is where I'm going to live. This is home for me. I'm going to figure out a way in the next 2 years to make this permanent. So I knew from the moment I went.
You set your eyes on it.
I was like, no question.
I'm going to find a way.
The culture, the people, the weather, even the days when it was very rainy season, I don't care. I can still enjoy this. For me, it's not a problem. I didn't really have anything that was like, oh no, this is a deal breaker. There was no deal breaker. Everything was doable.
You can work things out when you like the area.
Yeah, and I think the hardest thing for me is still getting used to the tourism, because even as a Chicago local, I avoid all the tourist areas.
Yeah.
Like people are like, oh, go to the Bean or go on the Lakeshore Drive or go here and there. And I'm like, I never go to those places.
Yeah.
I don't. That's for influencers. I don't consider myself an influencer. I consider myself an educator. So it's just very different to go to a smaller island in the Caribbean where people are very tourism heavy. So I'm still getting used to that. I think that's the big difference for me.
Yeah, the lifestyle I think is very different between countries. But I like that what you said, the influencing part. Although we're not in that mindset, I think we are kind of align.
We always fall into it. Everyone's always like, oh, you're an influencer. Am I influencing you and educating you? Maybe.
Exactly.
Yes,
I think education is the most important piece that you mentioned.
Correct.
Because without education, there's nothing. Because
correct.
Even creating content, talking about the neighborhoods that you're in, describing where you are, doing mini documentaries of the spaces that you're visiting.
Yes.
That itself is not trying to influence somebody into making an action, but at least exploring and getting curious and, oh, I could actually live there.
I could actually do this, right.
And actually, you're from here, and many people think that once you come from a big city, you never want to leave.
That's not
or
true.
You never want to go anywhere else because you're in the best place right now. There's so much opportunity here. But you saw kind of like what's happening there and how you want to be like sometimes first in market, I feel, because a lot of people locals are exploring the real estate over there. But if you're from Chicago and you told me about Panama, and I'm like, oh, I trust you, right? Like you went there and you liked it?
You liked it.
Okay, maybe, and you know how we live here.
Yeah.
And you think we're gonna like it, and then we kind of be like, okay, I'll follow you.
Correct. Yeah,
so have
it's
you got
that trust
like
factor.
That?
Absolutely. Not only that, just understanding, for me, understanding the differences of taxes. Obviously in the US, we pay crazy taxes. So understanding, offshore accounting, avoidance of double taxation, how to start your LLC business, connecting with the right professionals there. That's been huge for me to help me like really jump in full force and say, okay, this works for me. Yeah.
I think the partners,
those benefits.
At least in Latin America, and at least for us in Mexico, if you don't have the right partners, your client can get really, I don't want to say F-upped, but they can get really derailed on they will lose their money. There's no
you might not even get a property that's titled correctly.
Exactly.
I mean, there's so many different scenarios that end terribly for people that don't have expert certified professionals. Like there's hundreds of stories.
Yeah. I think many people just jump at I'm going to Google it, but I don't know if in Panama is similar, but in Mexico, you can Google it, but people who have money to pay are the ones that are, yes, they have their head on the game, but you never know if they're paying for something that is compliant or something that is ethical.
Outdated, yeah. There's a lot of stuff that's not correct.
There's is there any top 3 risks that you see in your market that are like, don't do this, or this is going to happen because you've seen it firsthand or because you heard about it?
Yes.
Because once you're in the market, you hear about so many horror stories. And you're like, I hope my clients don't have to go through this. And they ask me at least the question of like, what should I do in this case or in that case? Because once they don't ask the question or they don't know, it's hard for us to bring them back into, let's say, on track.
I would say the top 3 things that I've noticed are, one, if people are not taking care of their property, they can lose it.
Okay.
Yeah. So if your property is not titled and you are not keeping the grass cut, keeping it fenced in, I mean, you can lose your property.
It's regular maintenance.
Yeah, regular maintenance. And then there's also the situation where things are not properly titled, you know, or people get tricked out of it. A lot of locals don't know the laws in Panama. It's still in some parts very underdeveloped, which means lack of education, lack of knowledge. And what happens when you have lack of education and knowledge, you get taken advantage of, you know? And so I see that a lot with people that are constantly just losing their land, or they're buying property from maybe international. People will fly in and they'll say, well, I bought this land and the land is actually titled and everything looks good, but then the use of the land, it's like it's a national park, so you can't build on it. So I just bought this land and I can't do anything with it. I can't do anything.
You can see the trees grow.
Yeah, just you can watch the trees grow, but you can't cut them down. You can't harvest. You know, there's all these different rules. And then there is the titled property where you buy land and it's not titled. So then someone can basically do a title on the land and then
just kind of invade it and take it over.
Yeah, just invade it and take it over. And I'm sure there's something similar like that in Mexico too.
All Latin America, we see that, and it's very common. For the same reason, we ask clients to at least go through the process of understanding the buying process and working with a professional that has their best interest. Because I feel like once they go alone into a random realtor that they find online, they just don't know who they're working with.
Right. And
they get exposed to all these things that just want to make a quick commission out of it. But yeah, I understand the risks. And now that you're now living in an island, like how do you, and you're building your house there too, right?
Yes, I have a business partner there. We're building a house that we're going to turn into an Airbnb. It's a little bit further away from the main island, so it's close to the border of Costa Rica. Okay. And I plan to use that for a place for people that need to renew their visas to go back and forth from Costa Rica as like a crash pad house for a couple days so that they can renew their visa.
That's smart.
Yeah, and then my main location is going to be located on the island. The project that I'm taking on is in San Cristobal, so I will be there as long as I can.
Yeah, that's amazing that you found a developer that you can work with in a way that...
Long story.
And I want to talk about your project because not only you're building your own house and you're just a single woman that just left Chicago and you're like, I'm just going to go and I'm going to build my house because you're in construction.
I packed everything and put it in storage. Yeah, it was crazy.
So it's like a transition that you sometimes were like, oh no, I'm just going to go because I believe on this and I'm going to just set up shop there.
Yes.
And how do you come up with that encouragement? I know you have some family there, but at the same time, you're kind of on your own.
Oh no, this is 100% on my own. The area that I'm going, I have no family. I have new friends that are family and extended family, but my family lives in Panama City. So this is an hour away from them. I would say having a very trustworthy business partner who has been there for me has been amazing. Someone who's local and they understand all the rules and regulations. That's really important. And then also just knowing when to go. There's always a change and shift in things. And I think every market has a cycle where you're like, okay, I think this makes sense. My lease was just ending, so I packed everything up, put it in storage. I found a great storage place with great rent that I could rent for 6 months. So I was like, I'll just try it for 6 months, worst case. And then I got offered this position for a 5-month contract to hire. And I was like, oh, absolutely. This is perfect.
And it's in Panama?
In Panama, yes, with the developer. And I had gone out there previously to do just some networking at a country club that has a golf course, and I met some amazing people. That's where I met the individual. Her name is Kirsty, who introduced me to the founder of the development that I'm going out there to work for. So it's just all based on your network and relationships. And I really, truly feel that I've learned some of the best networking skills in Chicago. How many times do you go to a networking event?
Yeah, you don't know anybody.
All the time.
And you're like, oh, crickets.
Right.
But you have to have that push.
You have to have that push. You have to go meet people. You have to get out there. You have to not be scared. And that has really pushed me to just go for it.
Yeah, no, I think the good practice is here. This is a big city. And now when you go to Panama, I feel like you're more, I got this.
Yeah, because Chicago is very intimidating.
Spanish fluently, right? As well.
So
you're getting there?
I'm getting there, but my Spanish is not 100%. And so I think I've been there probably 6 or 7 times. That's when I really knew also like going back and forth and understand, like setting up a bank account system, seeing what different rental places are, trying different apartments for rent, you know, staying there 2-3 weeks at a time, seeing what the culture was, the food, how much it cost to get my hair done, you know, groceries. I really wanted to see what is the life experience. And that really helped me to be, okay, I can do this.
Yeah, because sometimes being on vacation, and I tell people this all the time, being on vacation.
Totally
it's like
different.
you're in the honeymoon space.
Yeah, it's a honeymoon.
And when you go and move there for 6 months, you're married.
Yeah.
And you're like, okay,
That's
you know,
why.
some dishes are on the sink, and then you're like, oh, I don't like this area. You know, what happened here at night? So
Yes.
you by being by yourself too. I'm just gonna go figure out, do my networking, meet people. You know, you found a job almost that allows you probably to go back and forth, connecting to markets.
Yep. The job is going to be hybrid probably for the first year, but I plan to be on site as much as possible. I'm very excited about it. I think I talk a lot about work-life balance and how having the time that you want in the US, there really is no work-life balance. It's just work, work, work. Like today, Sunday, I worked the whole entire day. But in Panama, it's a little bit different where you have time to relax, have time to spend with family and prioritize things.
Yes.
And I want that kind of alignment where I can have those opportunities to just relax.
Just turn it off.
Yeah, just turn it off and spend time with people you care about. We really cannot do that here.
Chicago is very fast.
Very fast paced. You have to know what you're talking about. Everything is just go, go, go.
Time is money.
You know, documents need to be in by end of day.
It's more strict on times. Have you said, I mean, to us was a shock a little bit and getting things on time. Not only from, of course, contractors are always late anywhere in the world, anywhere in the world. But in Latin America, I feel that they get an extra effort of being later. But to new people that go in there, you know, it's Latin America. Do you feel that frustration from some buyers or property management companies that are
a lot more
in that
lax?
struggle of like, oh, they're too relaxed. They told me, you know, it's gonna be done 3 weeks ago and still not done yet.
Yes. So there were definitely some things where when I was going back and forth the first time, you know, I would be okay, I bought all this gravel, it's spread out, I like everything done. And it was like, it wasn't done. But that was the important part of having my business partner there, because he would go and make sure that it was finished on time. I might not be able to state, here's what my expectations are. But if he says, hey, if I'm giving you the money, the material's there, there's no reason this shouldn't be done. If you can't do it, unfortunately, we have to find someone else. People want to work harder because they also have integrity, and there are not as many opportunities, I feel, in Central America to make that kind of money, to do those kind of projects. So in a way, I feel like it was easier in Panama than in Chicago, where everyone has so many opportunities and contractors, you can throw a stone and get a project. And so you don't really have the respect and you don't really have the priority with them because they can get a job anywhere. Like, what makes you special?
It's a lot of offers.
Yeah, there's a lot of opportunities here. And unfortunately, that makes it even harder because then you run into a lot of really bad contractors.
Yes. Yes. Bad contractors are everywhere in the world.
They're everywhere. However, I feel that when you're in a small town or in a smaller island, people really care about their reputation.
That's awesome to hear.
Yeah, they really care.
I feel like
it's a lot of pride in Panama.
I feel like a small town in Mexico, where we are in Merida, is similar. They take care of the reputation. They don't want to look back. I mean, they want to keep the relationship going long term. While in other areas that are more touristic, at least for us, in Cancun, Riviera Maya, and you know, Tulum, people just recycle like it's a revolving door. They come and go. They quit. They're in the real estate business. They're out. One day they're a waitress. The next day they're realtors. The other day they're driving a boat in the touristic industry.
It's too many different things.
And then they're like lose focus. And for us, it's been like the hardest part to build a team internationally. So are you working on probably building a team in Panama soon? You know, you're a realtor in Chicago, right? You have your license here.
So I have my broker's license, I have my contractor's license, and I have my developer certification, and also project management PMP. So for all those things, the skill sets transfer over. Not so much needing the license, but having the knowledge, right?
Yes.
That's the most important, because if you don't understand how to lead a team here, you cannot lead a team anywhere. You have to be able to take constructive criticism. You have to be able to be a team player, have an open mindset, be coachable. As even the top person on your team, like you still have to take coaching from someone.
Yes.
And not be like, no, I know everything. Like, stop talking to me. No, I have to listen to what you're saying. Even if I know some of it, I'm sure there's something that I can learn.
Yes.
So you have to be open and coachable. I think having the team that I have in Panama, there's not too many local realtors that I have. I'm working on building that. But architects, attorneys, developers, yes, I have that down. Construction teams, yes.
You have to have your surrounding owners.
Yes. I even have an amazing engineer who's a woman of color. I love her. She's amazing. I can come to her with any advice from anything. So she's been phenomenal.
I love that. So then let's say, once you're in Panama as a realtor, do you need a license there? Is there an MLS system? Or is it more like us in Mexico, that we just, the wild, wild west, we figure things out. We have to do everything manual?
Kind of like the wild, wild west. You definitely have to have a good attorney who knows like what land lots are and how the lines work. And then it's really based on your network. There's an MLS system, but it's so archaic, no one really uses it.
Okay. So network is everything.
Network is everything. Yeah, network is everything.
So then by you being there, if you're a team leader, you not only have to just help clients find a home or find a development, you also have to go in the front.
Yeah,
you have to be like, what are my partners? How am I going to figure this out? Attorney, can you please check this beforehand, before I even offer it to my clients? Do you have any developers? This happens to us as well, but for Panama, I'm not sure. I don't know the market too well. But that there are developers that don't finish or they're late or they don't finish at all, or there's more regulation in that way from the Panamanian government from your perspective?
Because there's a tourism boom going on right now, there's so much support, and I feel that the government is pushing for development to be done. Doesn't mean that developments don't fall apart. I think the developments that do fall apart are people that are not hands-on. To be 100% honest, it's people that are just dumping money in from overseas and they're just not paying attention. They're not understanding. You really, if you want something to succeed, you need to walk on the ground. You need to have boots on the ground. You need to understand the culture. You need to understand the timelines and the schedules and the budget, the material costs, the logistics of getting them to the work site. All those things are so important. Yeah, they're so important.
And then only you know that when you're there, right?
Correct.
You have to be there physically. Sometimes.
Yeah, you can't just say, oh, I'm going to send all this money to Panama and hopefully I'll be a millionaire in 5 years. No. You have to go do the work.
Monitor, check the compliance.
Correct. Yeah, understand the laws and regulations. That was a really big challenge for me originally when I first left from Chicago to Panama, because in Chicago, I stay on top of like code violations and rules and regulations and certifications.
Everything's online, right?
Everything's online, and certifications. You have to be certified in this and get your regulations, and you have all your degrees on the wall, and it's like, yes, I'm this certified. But then you go to Panama, and it's like, well, I'm not exactly sure what the rules are here and what the laws are, and then you see that some things are more relaxed and other things are very strict. So you have to know what are the rules and regulations I need to follow, types of material I can use. It's not like you can just go to a hardware store and say, yeah, give me,
1,000 things of this.
Correct.
Because the material, like, you're with the water too, right? So
correct.
You have to get water resistant or sea breeze resistant something because everything gets rusty so fast.
Correct. You have to do a lot of different water systems. And then they're water catch basins, they're very eco-friendly, right? Because they collect the water and then it gets recycled through a water system and then it goes into the houses. So that's the other thing that I had to learn, is getting eco-sustainable knowledge and learning how that works on the Caribbean side versus in Chicago. We don't have real green sustainable things except for maybe some green spaces on the roof or maybe solar panels, but really we're not doing what we should be doing.
Yeah, and it's a big city, it's hard to probably
it's very hard
support this. And I know that because at least here when you do a flip in Chicago, you just plug into the water source and everything is set up. If the house was existing before, regardless of what you do with it, or even a new construction, you're just like, oh, electricity, water.
Yep.
But in Panama, if it's similar to us, you have to figure out before you buy something if the electricity goes that way.
Correct.
Or water.
Correct. You have to see where the wires are going underground, if it's straight to your house. And if it's not, then you have to literally run the lines and pay that additional. And everywhere is different cost. So.
Yeah, gotcha. Yeah, it's not. We take it for granted here because the light is on, and we're like, okay, nice, electricity's here.
Oh my gosh! One of the things on the island is there's certain days where there's power outages in the main part. So getting used to that on the Caribbean side was a little bit hard at first because it was like, hurry up, wake up, take a shower, hurry up before the water runs out. Like get all the cooking water or conserving water in containers. You see people with all these containers in the house. You're like, why do you have so many plastic containers? And then it happens to you, and you're like, oh my god, I need
more containers.
I need more containers. Right. I need more containers so I can save the water and shower, cook, wash my hands. You don't realize how much you need water for. Laundry, cooking, washing your body, taking care of yourself,
and it's hot
drinking.
Over there.
It's very hot.
So you have to maybe take more showers.
Yes, twice a day. Yeah.
It feels like Caribbean, we have the same Caribbean weather then because
it's hot.
When we have power, the electricity goes out and you just don't know when it's coming back. Or if there's a bad rain, there goes the towers. And we just have to learn how to live with it because sometimes we're in a Zoom call and we're like, oh, my internet went out. Sorry.
Oh my gosh.
And we have to connect with our Wi-Fi or the phones. But we figure it out. I feel like although all that happens, not only where we are, it's like Latin America and maybe it's Florida too. When it's raining too bad over there,
That's so
power
interesting.
outages.
I was just thinking about that. Like, I was on a business phone call working for a company called Ballpoint Marketing, and I remember the power went out, and I was like, well, I guess I'm done for the day. Then I came back online later, and I was like, yeah, sorry about that. We had an outage, but yeah, whatever you need, you just send it to me, and I'll just finish it right now. But yeah, just different lifestyle, right? Getting used to those changes. Preparing ahead of time. Generators are going to be something that I definitely have to put in my house. Starlink Wi-Fi. I want the strongest Wi-Fi because I'm a princess. Like, I have to have good Wi-Fi and air conditioned units.
Yes.
You know, like fans are great, but there are some days that it's so ungodly hot that you're like, okay, I need air conditioning. Otherwise, I'm going to sit with the refrigerator and the ice open and just take an ice bath. So there's those situations where you're like, okay, how do I get used to this? You know, coming from Chicago, it's very cold here. So we're not used to being hot. Like, your body literally has adjusted, even though I'm part Panamanian.
You have to adjust to be colder than warmer.
Yeah, I really changed.
I feel like it's a whole different armor that you have to put on to withstand the heat and don't suffocate sometimes.
Correct. You can put on winter jackets, you can layer, but you cannot take heat off.
You cannot take your skin off.
Right. It's too hot. You want to get out of your skin. It was very hot. So there's a lot of things that I've learned about just taking care of yourself, staying hydrated, avoiding mosquitoes. There's so many different things in different countries where people don't understand, like malaria can spread or dengue can spread. Like, how to keep that naturally, take care of your body. There's so many things.
Yeah. Do you feel like people that go there actually move there, let's say North Americans, Canadians? I don't know. What's your take on, come prepared, because not everything is sunshine and unicorns and rainbows, because sometimes we go with the perspective that we're going to paradise. But yeah, there's mosquitoes, there are cockroaches, there's like bugs, there's huge things in the Caribbean. There are animals that you've never seen in your life. And then people complain about that. I feel they're like, oh yeah, there's so many bugs in my house. We're like, you're in the jungle. There is just an adjustment that you have to do, because it's like going to Florida. We have bugs.
Right. And alligators. Just be like, you guys have alligators, snakes, and spiders, and all kind of other crazy stuff too, though.
Yes. So people sometimes complain when they're there, like, oh, there's so many bugs. And I think they need to go with the expectation that you're going to a tropical place, and it's just not perfect.
I think it's always good to list out pros and cons. Living in Chicago, we've had tornadoes. We've had cicadas infestations. We've had swarms of bees and all kinds of different cockroaches that have come and infested neighborhoods at a time. So I think when you look at the comparison of, yeah, I'm living in paradise, there's like giant frogs, there might be, well, in Panama we don't really have any tsunamis because we live right on that peninsula line. It's beautiful. And we don't have sharks because there's so many dolphins. So there's like pros and cons to things. I think it's important to figure out what is it that you're afraid of, that you don't want to be around, and then just don't live there.
Yes.
Like, for me, I would never want to live in Australia. I will visit, but I'm not okay living there. Those spiders there are terrifying. I never want to have to fight a kangaroo, and that's like my worst nightmare. And sharks. Sharks are just definitely not on my list of things.
Yes, true.
No.
The Caribbean, we only get like nice, beautiful fishes and coral.
Yeah, we have beautiful fish, coral, starfish. Beautiful beaches, amazing weather, wonderful people. I mean, it truly is paradise.
I feel the same way that you feel. I have to come visit you in Panama next year.
Yes, you have to come visit.
I'm going to create some content there. I'm curious because the last time I was there, it was for tourism purposes. I wasn't watching the real estate stuff. I wasn't paying attention to that because I was in vacation mode. So it's different than going to be like, oh, let's go and check some buildings, how's the construction, like what's happening here.
Hard hat,
My question is, what is the next train or the airport? Because that's when the trends for real estate start.
Yes.
So you being there, probably you get access to all the data right at the beginning as the government is launching it or as the locals are talking about it. I feel like that's the best reason to be there on the ground.
In 2016, my first visit, there was no talk about an airport on the island. Now they're talking about building a brand new direct flights airport. And when that is built, everything's going to change.
I know.
Yeah, everything's
going to change. It's like a boom for
and you experienced that in Mexico. Yeah. Everybody went there. And congratulations to the people who invested before the boom, because I'm sure they're getting really nice rewards right now.
I think it's checking the trend and where it's going instead of being afraid that, oh, I don't know, I'm waiting for the perfect time. It's like here, right? Like the market goes up and down. There's not a perfect time. Things are going to go up, things are going to go down.
It's really just what you're best prepared.
You cannot catch it perfectly. If you catch it on the bottom, then you can sell high. If you catch it high, you just have high season of tourists.
Correct.
So I think there's no perfect time to buy.
No, there's definitely no perfect time to buy.
Figure out your budget and then
And there's always going to be people that need a place to live. That's the tough part. So people,
True.
when I had a couple different Airbnbs that I finally have just let go, people are like, why are you letting it go? And I said, it's just time for a change. I've done it for a while, but I also see that I can do it overseas better and faster because I've learned how to do it in a very difficult city with break-ins and water burst and flooding and all different kind of things. If I can do that here, I can do that anywhere.
I feel like I would totally agree with that. Once you do it in a market that is regulated,
very challenging.
You're pushing against the current sometimes.
Ooh, yes, upstream.
Get all the knowledge. Once you step out of that and with the experience that you have here, although I feel like here when I'm in Chicago, I feel like I'm one more realtor and there's so much competition and people are talking about the same topic and they're doing the same content. And when you step out and you're like, I'm just going to go to another country, you take all your knowledge with you.
Ooh,
and you have a huge competitive advantage because now you're, I don't want to say it like that, but you're the American in a foreign country and they want to
in an
download all your
space.
Brain. Be like, give me all the knowledge on what you do, how you do things.
Yes.
And when I step out of the US, I feel like everybody was asking me questions that I thought people knew about.
Correct. That was so wild to me. I was like, you don't know this?
Yes.
Yeah, you become an expert really quickly.
And I was like, wait, you don't
after
know that?
Being here for a short time.
You don't do that? What process do you use? And then I was like, wait. And then as I was sharing with people, I felt like, oh my God, I knew so much. I never gave myself credit for that when I was in the US because everybody knows that.
Because everybody knows that. And I felt like I was behind.
Yes.
Right?
I'm always feel, pedaling.
You always feel like you're behind.
Slow.
But there's so many people here that are wise beyond their years. And you can learn from so many experts. I have a lot of really amazing mentors that are here that I've learned from, women developers that are redeveloping Woodlawn or redeveloping the Austin's West Side and doing prefab drop-in. So having the ability to just be around them and seeing how something that comes from a vision can truly manifest into a full project that's completed for sustainable housing, affordable homes, has been life-changing for me because it really makes me feel like nothing is impossible. To be able to see something go from an idea on paper to a full building in a couple years, it's incredible.
So you take that
mindset and that excitement to back home. What? You're unstoppable because people have never seen that before. It's unrealistic.
Yeah, and then you, like you mentioned, you're working on a very large project now that probably would, if you're local, will take you years and years, a whole career to build up to. Well, here you just transplant yourself to a different country and you're like, hired. When can you start?
Honestly, that it was just like, okay, you're exactly the person we're looking for. We need your skill sets. How soon can you onboard? And there's still things that I'm learning every day that
of course.
I'm just like, I don't know if I know this, but I'm going to take the time to learn it, right? CRMs are so different. Everyone has different ways of doing things, understanding the people you're working with and understanding what they're trying to say and understanding and taking it and repeating it back to them so that they know you understand. That's been a definite challenge. But I can say with confidence, I know that I know how to raise capital. I know how to get people excited about something and I know how to see the vision. That is for sure.
That's amazing because it's a perfect combination to explore new markets. And if people actually believe on you trust, your process, they'll be like, Natalie, I trust you. Just tell me where to put my money because it needs to get invested. And at least with inflation, not only in the US, but everywhere in the world. Like it happened just in Venezuela, right? Like people have piles and piles of cash.
And they're throwing it away.
And you're like, what do I do with my cash? It's worth nothing. I'm really concerned about that, at least in the US. People think let me save money for my retirement and it's going to be in cash. And I'm like, don't do that.
Yeah, I think we've learned from the history that's a very, very bad idea.
It's very volatile.
Land is always going to be good. Nobody can take that away from you.
Especially if it's titled.
Absolutely.
Done correctly.
Yeah, titled land, done correctly. But also I just came back from Detroit and there was a gentleman who's a billionaire and he's buying up lots of land and he's growing trees on the land so that in the next 20, 30 years, he has trees to harvest that he can use that lumber to build. No matter what the market is, there's so many ways to leverage your equity in real estate, whether it's land, whether it's property, you can rent out your houses. When times get tough, you can figure it out. There was a point where I was living on work sites and renting out my house that I had rented on Airbnb.
Yeah,
that's how I got started. It was like, you will make it happen. If you want
amazing.
If you want it, you will make it happen. And then having that ability to take yourself from like the beginning to where you want to go. When you meet other people that are just getting started, you're like, it's going to be good. You've got this. I promise you. I've seen where you're at and you're going to make it. Like, I believe in you. It will happen. As long as you believe it, it's going to happen.
I love the part when I met you. And when we started talking, we're almost twins that we were born in different locations, but we're going in the same direction separated. Right now.
Yes.
So it's like, let's just go together and let's explore this. I get excited when it comes to international real estate, but I'm like 0.001% of people or realtors or anybody in the real estate space that actually care about this. So finding another peer, and you have my name, we were like Natalies, the Natalies of real estate. We should do a show.
Yes.
I was like, we have so much to talk about, and we're like talking about the same thing.
Much to talk
we don't stop talking since we met.
No.
And we met it, the funny thing in Instagram, and that's how I feel like Instagram is a perfect way to meet people because you see their interests and how they align, how they speak. And I related to you on the manifestation, visualization part. Like, I'm just living. I know how, if I did this once, I can replicate it over there.
Anywhere.
And so many people are stuck in the fear mode that I can't, I don't know. I'm just going to stay here with my cash and sit here.
Yeah, I truly believe that too. And a lot of people, because they keep looking at the market, like right now, for example, stocks are on fire. It's a fire sale. This is the best time to buy. And everyone's like, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. Buy and wait. The same thing with real estate. When the market is down, interest rates are dropping right now. It's perfect time to buy. So if you can take that information that you've had here, leverage it, you're golden. You're absolutely golden.
I like that. If you were gonna, let's say, give some advice to either your younger self or new realtors that are in the position that you were, let's say, 6 years ago, and you're like, you need to do these 2 things and you be able to get yourself out there, because many realtors that are local, they just want to stay local and they're like, I can't right now handle anything beyond like my zip code 60608, and that's it. I can't. Humboldt Park is my area. I can't go outside of this perimeter.
No. Yeah.
What do you think about that mindset?
I would say if you're just getting started, don't say no. Don't say no to anything. I remember being a new agent and people are like, oh, I don't do commercial. I don't do land sales. I don't sell land. I only do rentals, or I only do homes. I only do open houses. Do it all. Do everything. Get a taste of it. See what you like. See what you don't like. Maybe you like doing something. Maybe you don't like doing it. Maybe you like the people that you work with. I did rentals for years and was very successful. And then I was like, you know what? I wonder if I can build a portfolio of rental properties for myself or for other people. I was able to create 11 millionaires by doing that.
Wow. That's amazing.
So if you take that knowledge and you're like, okay, well, what else can we do? Well, now I'm seeing how these millionaires are changing and developing neighborhoods. Maybe I can work with a developer. So I'm going to start selling land. So anytime someone tells me, hey, can you put a listing together and sell this land for me? No problem. I'm going to learn how to market it. I'm going to study. And then that land is going to attract developers. And I'm going to talk to that developer and say, I want to have coffee with you and I want to understand your business. How did you get into it? The same way you're interviewing me, I would interview them and just say, I'm really interested. I want to know about it. How can I learn? Just always be hungry to learn about things. And you'll always find the people that are willing to teach you. Like it says that when the student is ready, the teacher appears. Like it really does happen like that. I was ready to go to Panama. I was looking for opportunities and this development just fell in my lap. And they're like, we're going to do 1 or 2 interviews. And then after the second interview, they're like, yes, we want to. Great.
That's
fantastic.
You put yourself where you wanted to be.
Put yourself where you want to be. Yes. It's your choice of what you want to do with your life. Truly, nobody controls it but you.
No, it's very inspirational. And I totally agree with that. Out of curiosity, I've done so much, and because you get curious.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if people get curious, but I'm always looking for what is the roadblock, right? What is the corner? There's no way out, so there's got to be a way to. There's opportunity.
There's
where
always
there's
a way through.
Something stuck.
Yes. The obstacle is the way. You have to just go through it.
So then, what is funny is that you were in the real estate space here. Now you're over there. So what do you think is your 5-year plan on how you want to visualize your life? Not only being in the Caribbean, but what do you think is next for you? Because you've tried what seems like
everything.
The whole flavor, all the flavors of real estate, from rentals to developments and commercial. And now you're in another country. So what's your vision for the next 5 to 10 years that you're like, you know what? If it looks like this, I love my life. Which I already love your life right now.
I do love my life right now. I absolutely do. I would say developing a resort on an island, which we're in the process of doing, building a skyscraper in Panama and being a part of that, and then also owning a villa as well as oceanfront condo with amazing views in Panama. Those 2 things would make my life complete. I would just be like, okay, I did it. This is what I wanted to do. And then just having the ability to enjoy it around people that I enjoy spending time with. Like just even being able to talk with you is just like, it's so rewarding and it feels so good because I'm like, yes, someone else who's excited about this, not making me feel like I'm a crazy person because I'm so excited about real estate.
For many years I thought I was crazy.
Yeah. You're like, why are you so obsessed? I'm like, because the devil is in the details. You have to understand the numbers. Otherwise, you're not the best. It is a very competitive market in Chicago. But the competition makes us better. As long as we're not mean or rude to each other, I think the competition is good. Because truly, it's like the Olympics of real estate. You really push yourself to see how fast you can do things, how many clients you can get, how many calls you can make, how many showings you can do. Like, yeah, you have to go, go, go. But it pays off because you see the return faster. You know, it's like, oh, I'm just going to do 1 or 2 showings, maybe do an open house. This is not for you. This is a hobby.
Yeah.
This is my life. I eat, sleep, and breathe real estate. I'm constantly looking at Crane's reports, looking at what housing development is doing, what kind of grants are available for entrepreneurs to build houses, to build businesses. There's so much here as a minority that you can take advantage of if you have the right structure in place. So then learning about setting up your business correctly, right? Chicago is a very business regulated city. So they will tell you, we need to have all these documents in order for you to move forward. So it helps you when you go overseas. People are just like, how do you know all this stuff? Like, this is like attorney level information. This is normal things that we have to do for ourselves in the US.
True.
Right?
That's true. I feel like there is so much paperwork that needs to
we
get
do
done here.
So much paperwork.
We're like, which paper is it? You just have to put it side by side to know which document is equivalent to other, but it's pretty much very similar. It's just, I always say that real estate is the same in every country. At least 80% is similar. You know, I want to ask you about the buying process in Panama too, but at least 80% is always the same because you have to have a buyer-seller contract. Make sure it is clear.
Yes.
Loan or cash, closing. But then there's an extra 20% that will be the variant by country, by the regulation, by the areas. But pretty much if you know the basics, you can do real estate in any country if you understand the nuances that are different.
Absolutely. There's small nuances, but it's the same process of serving the client, making sure that everything is in their best interest, making sure that all the things are checked off so that at the end of the day that there's no issues for them to get their property, and then handing them a good project. That's it. And the same for development. The process is the same. Maybe the material is different, but a property in Lagos, Nigeria that's built on the island is the same way that it's going to be built on the water oceanfront in Panama, in the Caribbean. You know, there's so many similarities. We think that we're so different. The more you travel in the world, you realize like, oh my gosh, we are all the same. We are doing so many things that are similar. Our food, same. We just call it something different. There's so many meals in Mexico that's the same in Panama. It's the same. It's the same. We just call it a different name.
Yeah, stepping out and checking the comparison, like checking the similarities. And I do believe that
there's so many common threads in the human, just humanity. We're so similar. If people are like, oh, we're so different. Like, no, we're not. We're really not.
We all eat, live somewhere, go to school, go to work, go do it again.
And travel and enjoy. That's it. We're all looking for the same kind of enjoyment in life. We all want to relax. We all want to do what we love. We want to be around people that we love, people that we enjoy spending time with, people that set our soul on fire with passion for what they're doing.
Talking about international real estate, I think has been an uphill journey for me. And meeting other people, like now I think it's a little more common, like the last 3 years because of COVID and people wanted to move to other places. But before that, it was like, you're crazy. You're moving out of the US. Why? They would be like, what's wrong with you? Right. What do you do? Or, like,
why would you
going
leave
to
so
jail?
much opportunity?
I was like, well, I already been there, done that, everything. So now I just want to go and copy and paste somewhere else or test how it's different or similar on the experiences that we have just in another country. And for us has been Mexico, for you has been Panama. But you find a lot of similarities. And when it comes to the buying process, let's say, first I'm curious to see what's the primary demographic, what's the primary buyer internationally that comes to Panama. And then second will be the buying process that you follow with your clients in case they're curious to learn more.
Anyone that wants to, I even said, if you have a 401k and you want to cash out and buy a condo unit in Panama City and do developer financing, like do it. Because the systems that they have in place, Panama City is just starting to get regulated for Airbnb. So they're getting ahead of the game. And what people wanted to do to get involved in real estate, Airbnb in Chicago before all the regulations, like I wish I was in Airbnb when it first got started in Chicago. I would be a multi-millionaire, right? Like I would have had so many tax write-offs. I would be so much further ahead. And knowing now what that bubble looks like and that opportunity looks like, when I go to another country and I say, oh, it's happening.
It's coming in.
It's happening. It's happening. I need to get involved in this right now. I need to invest. I need to start something. It doesn't matter if you start something very small. For example, the house that I'm building on the border of Costa Rica, under $30,000 to build it. New construction,
crazy.
Right, under construction. But had I not communicated with someone who was there and met someone who was there who was doing it, I would have never thought about that. I would have thought there's only one way to do it. I have to go through Panama City. I have to buy a condo. Like, no, there's other ways. You can buy businesses. You can partner with people who have businesses. You know, there's so many ways.
Yeah, that's crazy. It's very inexpensive, and you're in an island.
Correct, and you're on an island.
That's
a lot of people just go there from European countries like Switzerland, the UK, Ireland, but not too many people from America know about Boca del Toro, Panama, and the Caribbean side of what's going on there.
Still a secret space.
It really feels like it, because even when you go there, you hardly run into Americans. It's very rare.
They have to know. Once a couple Americans go, then it's going to spread like fire. So before that happens, maybe you want to get in.
Yeah.
You're already in.
As I was like saying, if anybody needs, it's like when you get married. If anyone wants to say anything, speak now or forever hold your peace, because I did tell you, and I will be walking down the aisle with my money, and I will be getting married and be successful without you. So either you're in or you're out. It's very simple for me. Once you analyze a market and you see the trends, and you're like, okay, this is happening. It's coming. It's going to be.
It's like being in the future, and people are like,
really
I wish I knew
like
these, 10 years ago, and now you're there. I'm 10 years ahead of this.
Yeah, you're 10 years ahead. And the sad part is a lot of people who are living in it are so
head down
that they don't even realize, like, you're sitting on gold. If you just take a little bit of your money and invest in this, and if you have the ability to hold on to it, you're going to be so well taken care of. Your family's going to be so set in the next 10 years.
I think I love that vision of that you're picturing and painting that scenario, because for us, we're seeing the same where we are right now in Merida, because the other side of the peninsula already got kind of, it's too expensive already. So we're like looking at some areas that are more affordable, and the lifestyle is still beautiful. We have nice beaches, and people don't know about it, very few. And they ask me, why so cheap? And I'm like, because nobody knows about it. Right. I just buy now instead of future. And you're saying just that. You're confirming our theory of, okay, this is going to be it.
Yeah, you have to buy
now or never. Especially when the dollar right now, I don't know for Panama, but dollar and peso has been going up, which hasn't been for the last 2 or 3 years. So now the exchange rate, you get a lot of pesos for dollars, so you can buy more real estate for cheaper, less dollars. And I don't know, in Panama, how's the economy like that when you're there? How does it feel like, or what's the exchange rate?
Right now, the exchange rate is $1 to $1. So everything is fine. You can also use USD to purchase, 1 to 1. Okay. And the economy in Panama, I would say, is strong, and it's on the uprising. The government is starting to invest a ton of money into tourism and boosting up. So tourism attracts so much. You know, Chicago is a very tourist city. And so you see, we have tons of people coming in every day. Our flights from O'Hare are fully booked.
Yes.
Like if you miss your plane, it's booked. You have to catch the next one. So knowing that's coming, it just makes me feel very confident in the structure of, okay, this is a great development. Even if it's 1 to 1, I can still do this.
Awesome. For the process itself, for buying, let's say somebody's curious. I'm like, Natalie, I want to buy in Panama. I don't know where to start. What would be the advice that you would give them, like baby steps? First, do this. Second, do that. Third, and you can probably walk them through the process.
Absolutely. The first thing I would do is I would put them in touch with the developer who has the product, and I would have them look at the different products to see what they feel is a good fit for them, right? Because I don't want you to buy something that you're like, oh, this is not really what I wanted. That's important for you to take pride in your ownership. For me, because I want you to also respect the people that you have ownership next to, right? Because you're buying next to locals. You want to be respectful and understand the culture. The next thing I would do is I would introduce you to the attorney that can help walk you through the process and just put you in the hands of my amazing team, but also guide you through it. That would be a huge thing for me. I wouldn't want to leave the buyer side to make sure that things go smoothly as they can, because there's so much that can happen.
And that will be for pre-sale, pre-construction mostly,
Correct.
right?
You can do pre-construction
Is it cheaper to, let's say, we're talking about 30-40% less than the actual
fire sale.
Resale? And what would be an average that would be like, let's say two bath condo? You have to pick the city because I don't know
Panama
which
City.
one.
We'll just start Panama City, probably like $250 to $280 for a beautiful, 1 to 2 bedroom.
That's amazing. And that would be pre-construction or
I would say pre-construction.
Resale.
Right, that's
okay.
pre-construction. And that also has the option for developer financing.
Okay.
So developer financing is the way to go because you're getting the best
It's seller's
price.
financing.
Correct.
With them, do they charge you interest or not quite yet, depending on the terms?
It depends on the terms. Everything's negotiable.
Okay, yes. Of course.
Everything is negotiable in real estate, right. So yeah, and having an amazing attorney who knows how to negotiate.
Exactly.
Like, I love my attorney in Panama. She's amazing.
That's good. Do you have the whole team then ready to go?
Yes.
Like they're like coming into you, you walk them through the process, and they
process.
walk out the other way with a condo.
Correct. Yeah.
How long is more or less the time frame that you have to wait for building list go up? Like 2-3 years or less? More?
Right now, I think it's 2 to 3 years, but there's some that a couple of people got in on the very end. It's about to happen. Right.
Because some people are like, okay, I don't need anything right now until I retire. But it's a good time to do it
right now.
Because right now it's still.
But it could be your
priced.
retirement. And the other thing is, this property that you're investing into while you're working your 9-to-5 job can be bringing you income to help you retire faster. A lot of people don't think about that. Like, yeah, your money could sit in a 401k, or it could be earning you money now. And
exactly.
And
actively.
And actively meaning that before the interest and inflation hits you, you're able to get in before. Because people don't take into effect that, yes, you're putting money into an S&P, you're putting money into a 401k, but what about the inflation? The inflation is eating away at that. So even if you take money and you look at this side-by-side comparison of, do I want to put it in 401k or do I want to put it in the real estate? Which one is going to be better? Always is going to be real estate.
Yeah, it's more like
real estate makes the most millionaires. This has been proven again and again and again.
No, I agree with that. We're in the business of real estate.
Yeah, we're in the business, and it's not just talk. I've seen it for myself.
I've seen comparison of people and how they divide their portfolio. Usually real estate at least is 50% of it.
Correct.
And the rest, everything else, crypto,
yes.
401k, savings, and
that's
any
the
other businesses.
Thing. In Panama, crypto is becoming very, very popular now. So people can actually buy real estate with crypto.
It was getting a little bit more in Mexico too, but now it's a little more open and mainstream.
Really?
Is it for you?
Yeah.
You can actually go like, hey, there's...
Yeah, they have crypto ATMs. They have,
it's friendly.
Yeah, it's very crypto friendly. Crypto bros are there. They are there.
Bros.
They have arrived. They are there. Yes.
That's awesome.
And then also just having offshore to offset all the income that you're making. A lot of traders who are very successful, they have places in Panama that they are putting their income.
Yeah, and maybe this is a myth, but maybe in the 90s or the 2000s, a lot of people went to Panama to be able to save taxes. Is this still the case?
It's not a myth.
No, it's happening.
There's definitely a lot because there's so many different tax laws.
It's like the new Puerto Rico. No, the old Puerto Rico.
Similar. Yes, I would say so.
Go there too.
I definitely think so. I think now Panama's even stronger because the government is saying how they can bring people in. And one of the biggest ways that they're bringing people in is the tax benefits. So for example, if you open up a business and you decide to invest in real estate, 250 or more, you can have 10 years, no income tax on that property, no import fees. There's a certain amount of years, I can't remember what it is at the moment, but it's like you don't pay property taxes. And so having all these huge benefits is crazy. And the other thing is, when you buy property in Panama, you own that. It's not like in the US where it's like, oh no, the government owns it and they can take it away from you. That's yours. And there's also no inheritance tax. So if anything happens to me and I want to give something to my child, I can pass it on to my child and they don't have to pay this exuberant amount of tax. I think
tax-friendly country.
It's 40% or more. So imagine like you die, you give your house to your family member, kid, whoever. Now they have to pay the taxes on that in order to get that asset. That's not really fair.
You already pay for it. And you already pay the taxes.
You've paid it a million times and you're paying taxes and you're paying water bills and utilities. It never ends here.
Yes.
So that's the other benefit of what do I get from my investment internationally? Like you're getting a property that's yours.
I think we need to want to do a full workshop on Panama buying process and benefits.
Yeah,
because I think it's very extensive and it's very important for people to understand what's the process, what are the huge benefits besides the taxes and the property taxes. Do you think that, is there any immigration benefit that people get through real estate? Like in Europe, they get the golden visa. You said for 10 years.
Oh my gosh, there's like 40
benefits.
plus something visas, different types. If
Amazing.
There's the investor visa, there's the digital nomad visa. I mean, there's a bunch.
Panama is like a welcoming city to
immigrants.
immigrants.
It's extremely welcoming. And you can go through the process. You know, I'm going to be going through the process this year to get my second passport. Like it's going to happen.
Yeah.
And not just because my father's from Panama, more so that I know how the rules work now because I'm from Chicago. Once you're from Chicago and you know the process of how to do paperwork and how to push things through, the world is your oyster.
Everything
you can
gets
do
easier.
Everything, right? People are like always calling me like, hey, can you help me with this? Can you help me with that? And I'm like, yeah, sure. Give me 2 minutes. I'll get on my computer, finish the document, send it over to you. It's basically you have a knowledge bank of an attorney, a banker, and a broker all in one because of everything you have to learn here to be successful.
Yeah, that's true. And sometimes we don't give ourselves credit for it
We
because we
don't.
just know. And we're like, you just know that already? Like, we don't even question what we know. We're a lot of process that we had to go through.
And it was so interesting because they started to change the laws here. And it was just like, people were like, oh, I don't want to have to pay my buying broker and all this. And I'm just like, what? You want to do all that stuff on your own? And you want me to negotiate? No problem. Good luck.
Yes.
I'm perfectly fine. And meanwhile, in other countries, people are like, no, I need your help.
Yeah.
It's a whole different mindset shift of being appreciated and seeing the value that you have as someone who's very knowledgeable versus you're just trying to take my money. I'm saving you hundreds of thousands with negotiation, with making sure your paperwork is done correctly.
It's a good property.
It's a great property.
Vetted, good legal title deed.
Right.
I feel the same. When I step out of the U.S., I mean, I love being in Chicago and
I love
transacting
here too.
here, helping people with Airbnbs, with own rentals, flips. And it's been a lot of experience. But then when you're out, I feel I'm treated like a diva somewhere else.
Yes.
People are like developers opening the door, like, hey, you want to work with us? Come in. Everybody wants to work with a broker that understands their market, not only locally, like the Panamanian market, let's say, for us it's the Mexican market, but we can have the knowledge from home that we can onboard people from before they leave home to whenever they arrive. So they see a lot of value in that. Has it happened to you that they give you sometimes
royal treatment?
Yeah, royal treatment to realtors,
absolutely,
real estate agents, professionals that are in the field. And they're like, please come in and whatever you need. There's sometimes raffle cars for the top sellers, like the ones, if you sell like even 10 units of something that we will do here anyways. They give you a car.
They give you a car. Something crazy.
What? I get a Jeep?
Yes.
For free?
Yes.
No taxes?
No taxes. Yes.
And I was like,
the commissions are insane outside the country.
Yes.
They are insane. When we're making stuff in the US, after paying all the taxes and after paying all the fees,
you get to your 2% and like, scratching.
Thanks for paying my rent for the 1 month. And then you go to a different country and you're like, thanks for the 10,000 that I'm able to write off.
Yes.
Totally different conversation. It changes you. And once you get a taste of that, you never want to go back.
Exactly.
You're like, okay, I can make money here and I can go back to the US and also enjoy and learn and take the knowledge.
And network and show people and teach people how to do this.
Yeah, there is people that I'm definitely looking to bring to Panama.
Yeah, awesome. No, I like it. I feel like there's a lot of things going to be happening after this conversation and you know, things that we're going to be collaborating on and deeper conversations in the process, immigrations, legal stuff, because although it's very similar, it's still very different because if you don't know somebody locally that knows the law, you know, from A to Z in that specific field that is real estate, you can always work with a random attorney that some people are like, oh no, he's a corporate attorney, but he also knows about real estate, but it's not always the case that they know everything about that specific field. Yeah,
and attorneys all have different expertise, so you want to make sure that the one you're talking to knows about your product that you're buying. Because commercial is different from residential. Residential is different from rentals. It's very different.
Awesome. No, I like it. Yeah, so we'll be creating more content from Panama.
Yes.
Hopefully in January this coming year.
Yeah, January, December. We should definitely host a Zoom and talk about the process of buying. And then also I would love to talk about the process of what it's like to buy in Mexico, especially with the dip in the peso. It sounds like a really great opportunity to come involved.
Yeah, absolutely. And within Costa International Real Estate, once you touch one market, and understand it for you has been like very similar. So you can be like, oh, okay, I got this. You can get Colombia, you know,
Costa Rica, everybody.
So then you're like, okay, similar. But some people, I feel like a lot of realtors wait. They're like, I'm not going yet, so I want to wait until I'm an expert in Chicago. I'm good luck with that. And then maybe branch out to other countries. When I'm like,
keep track.
Yes, it's like
everything changes so fast here. I mean, even if you think of the speed of how technology updates, that's how fast the real estate market happens in Chicago. Like every day you have to be reading, you have to be studying, you have to be talking with experts and understanding the laws and rules and regulations, also understanding interest rates change daily. You try to lock in a rate, you have 24 hours to make a decision. Your pre-approval only lasts for 60 to 90 days. You have to make a decision quickly, and all of that is on a timeline. In other countries, you don't have that as much. It's a little bit more relaxed.
It's relative. Time is relative.
Time is relative, exactly.
We learned that the hard way. But I'm super excited that we got to chat, you know, compare these markets that we love and at the same time exchanging knowledge from each other's markets that prevented from checking Mexico, because people sometimes they don't like Mexico and they like Dominican Republic. We have partners there. If they're like, no, I've been thinking about Panama because it's more corporate and I'm probably going to set up my company there. I talked to my friend Natalie. So we have those satellites, experts and partners that we can connect within a phone call. Like, hey, do you have anything at this location, this time frame, and this client when they need it delivered by? So having those contacts is super important for us. And thank you so much for taking the time to chat with us and share your experience.
Thank you so much. No, this has been an absolute pleasure. And we're going to definitely do a show for sure. No, you tell me when, we'll do it.
Natalies of Real Estate.
Natalies of Real Estate.
In Netflix.
Yeah.
But where can people find you? And then how can they search for you? What's the best way to contact you?
Yeah, people can find me right now on Instagram for the moment. I think after I become a multimillionaire, I probably won't have an Instagram anymore. So connect with me now. Yeah, connect with me now. Otherwise, you can reach out to my network, amazing people like Natalie as well, and she'll make sure that you can get in contact with me.
Awesome. We'll leave her Insta in the description, just so you have it in case you want to follow Natalie for any other tips in Panama.
Yes.
Well, thank you so much for tuning in today. Thanks, Natalie, for being with us. We're super excited to start working together.
Yes.
Panama, Mexico, US, Chicago. So more information will be in the description below. And if you have any questions, you can post them also in the comments. Find Natalie on Instagram if you have any questions about Panama itself or international real estate in general.
Absolutely.
So yeah,
thank you so much, Natalie.
Yeah, high five. See you guys. Thank you for joining us on the Real Estate Investment Nomad podcast. I hope today's episode has inspired you to explore new horizons in global real estate. Remember, the world is full of opportunities waiting to be discovered. And with the right insights, you can turn those opportunities into successful investments. If you enjoy the show, please subscribe, rate, and leave a review. Your feedback helps us bring you the best content possible. Don't forget to follow us in social media for more resources and updates. Until next time, my friends, this is Nathaly Salas, encouraging you to think big, invest globally, and transform your real estate journey. Safe travels and happy investing.